is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
I just dropped my phone.
I wondered what that was.
Yeah. Oh man, I know that the timing was like crazy because we couldn't just like read because you were in the middle of it. Yeah. Hi everybody. I told Alex. I don't know if I mentioned that there. I'm going back to Chicago Friday, and of course, me being me, decided 2 days ago. You know what? I'm gonna try to beat Kingdom Hearts 1 start to finish before I do that. That's not how time works.
No.
But I'm trying. I'm like halfway through. I've gotten a lot done in the first 8 hours I've played of it in the past few days. Because Kingdom Hearts is my favorite video game series. If you guys want to know a little about me, it's my favorite. It's my favorite game series of all time. So yeah, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 1. Not smart because I'm not taking my PlayStation. So I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like I'm just gonna be itching for like 3 weeks. Like I need to get back and play right now. And yeah, that's my week. Wrestling also happened, but that's been what I've been doing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I am. Yeah, good luck with that because those games are hard, and I could never get through them.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts 1 is I was terrible at it. Like
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 2 I'm good at. Like I'm good at that one. Like I really like got it down to a science. I really enjoy it. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start from the top because, I just play the earlier games a lot less than I play Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3. Um so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start from the top. I'm gonna play KH1, and I forgot how much bad platforming there is.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to be a platformer, and I was like, oh, and the motion isn't that good as Kingdom Hearts 2. Like if Kingdom Hearts 2 was I'm sorry guys, but if Kingdom Hearts 2 was a platformer, it would work because Kingdom Hearts 2 has great movement. KH1 has not as great movement, and it's trying to be a platformer, so it's kind of sometimes I just want to like pull my hair out, but I love it. It's my favorite game series. It's a good game. So yeah, I'm not gonna finish it, but I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm at least trying to get to the Disney Worlds. I'm gonna try to do that. Get to the end game
Well,
before I leave.
good luck with that. This podcast is brought to you by the 5-Star Network. Head on over to 5starnetwork.co for all of the articles and podcasts and videos about the wonderful world of pro wrestling. You have nothing to plug this week as far as I'm aware. So
Still go listen to No Limit on YouTube.
yeah.
And I finished, or I kind of finished an article about Mayu, but I told you I'm scared to release it.
Yeah.
So that is just sitting it's just sitting there. Maybe it'll release at some point.
Yeah, don't jinx Mayu. Because
we'd have
to you'd have to get put into witness protection. Anyway, news from the recent week of Stardom. First things first, they announced the schedule for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. It's only 10 shows. It is one of the most brief leagues they've run in a long time. It starts at Ota Ward and it ends the very next month in Nagaoka, in the Aori Nagaoka in Niigata. So it only runs from the 15th of August to November the 12th. So it's a relatively short league.
Wait. Say that again?
October 15th.
When does it start? It starts on October 15th?
And ends on November the 12th. Okay. So just under a month.
I thought you said August. No. I was like, that's not a short.
Yeah.
What? It's August now.
So it's a short league. Probably for the best because then they can just go straight into building to, whatever the Dream Kingdom equivalent is this December, if I assume they're doing another one. So that's the tag league. Should be fun. Getting it to run Ota Ward and that venue in Niigata is pretty big confidence in it to do well. So hopefully that pays off.
I'm interested in the teams this year. I don't want to dive into it too much, but I'm interested in like how many outsiders, because I feel like the tag team is where the outsiders come in
Yes.
more so. Like, like Rebel Enemy is kind of a shoe in, it feels like. Maybe the Inabas, right? And that kind of interests me because it's like, oh, maybe Tag League will be a bit more all killer, no filler, even though I guess Ram might be considered filler. Um, we'll see. I'm interested. That short period is probably going to be rough considering it's coming right after the 5-star, and they have 9 matches, probably 9 big tag matches.
Yeah,
You know,
or they'll do 5 each or something. I don't really know how they're gonna do it. Um, the other kind of news bit is that Natsupoi has been announced for the Sendai Big Show on September the 2nd. Kairi was previously announced for that show, so my assumption is Kairi and Natsupoi are gonna team. Potentially with
oh,
Suri
they
Ano.
should do
Yeah,
restart.
potentially with Ano.
Yeah.
The only thing is though, I think putting all 3 of those in the same match might limit what they can do because then you're also going to put 3 good wrestlers opposite them, and you're kind of running out of wrestlers at that point.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know who they would put. I mean, they
Red
could
Energy.
always do 200
Red
kg
Energy and
and
Sari is
oh
like
yeah,
the best move possible, but then you're putting
yeah,
6 of the best wrestlers on the show in one match, so they might not do that.
yeah. But I think Sendai's interesting because they have a decent amount at their disposal. They just don't have a lot of native roster. Because like I think about it, it's like Ryo Mizunami could always just have an
She
undercard
usually
match, and
does.
she always kills it pretty much anybody. Yeah, and they have a European champion, so Veni is presumably available to do anything else. Um, I think they have enough room to do like this big 6 woman. Um, it'd be funny if they got to restart before Stardom did again. Like what I mean, like if they ran
Yes.
that
Yeah.
trio and Stardom just
They
doesn't.
might do a different one though. They might do like Kyrie and Poi against Ano and Sari or something, because Ano and Sari teamed on the last Sendai pay-per-view, so they might do that either. But that's all speculation. Either way, it is very good because Sendai Girls is great and Natsupoi is also great. Um, Another Stardom wrestler announced for a different promotion. Saya Ida is catching the wave. She has been announced for the October 1st Wave show at Shinjuku Face. So yeah,
This is
very
Dylan
much
build.
so.
Because Pro Wrestling Wave is like, even though it's bad, some like even though it's pretty bad
Catch the
a
Wave could
lot
have
of the
been
time,
better.
it's my favorite promotion.
It wasn't the
Yeah.
best.
Um, like Kohaku and Asuka killed it in their match, but yeah, it's not having the best year, past year or so. I think Nozaki getting injured just since then it's been kind of rocky. Um, but yeah, I mean I'm a huge Wave fan. Wave's probably like one of my favorite companies, top 3, and so Ida is one of my favorite wrestlers. So that's awesome. And also I imagine they might throw her against Kohaku,
Maybe.
which is the move. It is so the move. Even though it's hard to win for either of them, because usually promotions don't really want, like usually Stardom doesn't let their people lose super easily in other promotions. Um and like they're both lower car. I don't know. It's funny because neither of them
Kohaku
are
will win.
protected,
Kohaku is winning.
but
It's very easy.
in comparison to each
Kohaku
other,
is winning.
it's
Like
maybe.
definitely.
But yeah, that's the match
But
I
anyway,
remember.
the
Actually, it's
yeah,
Gami. Yeah,
yeah.
Kohaku's definitely
The last
winning.
announcement then is that Deonna Purrazzo of Impact Wrestling has challenged a Stardom wrestler to a match on the Multiverse United show. That's on the 19th or the 20th. I can't remember. There's like a show on the 18th or a show on the 19th or the 19th and 20th. But either way, it's the second of the shows at the 2300 Arena. It is Impact versus New Japan, pretty much. I think Alex Shelley is wrestling Tanahashi on it, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool. And so Deonna
He
Purrazzo
is.
has challenged somebody from Stardom, which is like 99% going to be Julia because she is not on the Stardom pay per view that weekend. And I'm pretty sure it's just her and Mai Sakurai not on that show. So I doubt they're going to do Deonna versus Mai Sakurai. So it's probably Deonna versus Julia, presumably in a New Japan Strong or a New Japan, uh, Strong Women's Belt, isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's the New
Strong
Japan
Women's
Strong.
belts. So presumably that'll be on the line, and then Julia will beat Deonna, and it's a good match, honestly. I think Deonna got a weird rep there for a while, but her and Jordan Grace had some cool matches there earlier this year where they just like killed each other. So Her and Julia could be really fun.
Yeah, I like Deonna's dope.
Yeah, yeah, she is.
Um, she's one of those people who definitely suffers from American women's wrestling just not being taken care of. Um, because like yeah, she pretty much is stuck in Impact because that's the only place that will give her anything. Not to dive too much into that part, but like I feel like that's kind of where she's at. She went to NXT and that didn't work. Ring of Honor died, and it's just like she just has really gotten the shit end of the stick by just being a wrestler who's a woman in America. So yeah, that's a dope match. Whatever they do, I imagine it is Julia. Um, actually, I think they should put the bet on you and have her go
Yeah,
over
why
Perazzo.
not? Let's do it.
That's just me. That'd be so fire, just for no reason. Um, but yeah, no, I mean Deonna versus anybody in Storm's gonna be really good at least, except for my Sakurai. My Sakurai is the other person that isn't
Yeah,
on any of the
but
shows,
she's not.
either of the
She's not
shows.
doing it.
Um, she probably just travels with
If
Julia
even.
and does
I think she
the
just has time
tag
off.
match.
To be honest, she's just
It's
relaxing.
also possible.
Um,
Wrestlers are getting time off. I've noticed. Ami Sourei just had like the day
yeah,
off for no reason
it's
the other day.
why not? It's the GP. Let them rest. Um, the only other kind of news is that Konami has been announced for a house show in a week's time. Yeah, she's been added to a show next week to team with God's Eye. Um,
10.
yeah, the 10th. So
Maybe?
she keeps kind of
Yeah.
fluttering in and out as she needs. She
This is the first time that the 4 main God's Eye people are gonna be together, or 5
Wow,
main
that is
God's Eye
incredible. Her and Saki are gonna
with
have
Saki.
some very fun interactions.
Yeah, Konami fucking hates
Yeah,
Saki now. She's like, "Bro, you're a pussy.
yeah.
You should not be here." And Saki's like, we used to be partners." She's like, "Yeah, I don't care." uh, Konami's a bully. I
Konami's
love it.
characterization is so all over the shop. It is.
I mean, now she's just Shuri fangirl
Yeah,
who also happens to be able to like kind of kill people if she wants. Um, which is really funny. Like I dig it. I don't know why she's in that state, but it's interesting. I imagine she might be in Tag League as
yeah,
well,
kind
but
of.
we will
I
see
don't know
with
who
that.
she'd team with though. With Saki. Pair her
Um,
with Saki.
that'd be
Because
really funny.
presumably you'll get
Uh,
Tomoka and Siri again. The new eras will probably pair up.
I was thinking Saki and Shuri.
Maybe.
I was thinking Saki, Shuri. Maybe Konami's not in it because I feel like they might want to get the Inubas in it. As a
I don't
tag,
know if
right?
Azusa is really
Um,
ready for that. Um,
yeah,
Also,
I guess she
Tomoka
is
seems
still.
busy.
Maybe. Tomoka's
Yeah.
very busy.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if she can commit.
She's gonna be in an anime. I don't know if you heard
Yeah.
about that. Um, and yeah, that's true. I don't know. Konami and Inaba would be
Yeah.
super dope
That
as
is
a
true.
tag, but
I like Tomoka. Anyway, that is all the news that I can think of that we won't touch on anyway. I feel like there's one thing that happened that I don't remember, but sure it'll come up.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel the same way,
Yeah,
but
it's like there's something, I just don't know what it is. But anyway, time to get on to the review section. Stardom got both of these shows up. The first was on July 29th. This was Starverse Presents 5-Star GP 2023, supported by SoftBank Saku Tournament. This was in the Nagano Prefectural Budokan in front of.
I think they could add one more advertisement in there.
There's room. There's room. Saku sponsor tournament. That would be it.
Soccer tournament sponsored
Yeah.
by
Or just the Saku sponsor
Gillette.
tournament, you know? Could work.
It's sponsored by.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But anyway, this was in the Nagano Prefectural Budokan, and it was in front of 302 fans. Both of these shows were in big halls that were kind of empty, and it was quite the sight. I don't know about you. I mainly stuck to the GP matches and whatever else interested me because I really don't think Tekla versus Hanako has any impact on what's going on in the current stratosphere of Stardom.
I did watch Tag
You know,
Quest.
I can understand that. It
Um,
does sound beast, so I won't lie to you.
you know, I one thing, and this is like the only statement about most of the undercard, is I worry because Tekla seems way less motivated, and she should be because she got left out of the GP. But that kind of upsets me because it's like when she's motivated, she's insane. I'm not just talking about the Hanako match. I've just been kind of thinking about this the past couple weeks, with some of her matches, and I was like, man, she like isn't really given a reason to care. So she's not really putting as much care into all of her matches. That's kind of a shame. I wish they'd give her a reason to care. That's my
It's
take on this team.
fair, honestly. Yeah, she's really just kind of vibing with that trios belt, and that's about it. But anyway, Hanako won that match, or no, she didn't. Thekla won that match in 5 minutes.
That'd be crazy. We would
Yeah,
have to have a different conversation about Tekla if Hanako
she
won that
won with the
match.
poisonous spider death drop in just over 5 minutes. The next match
Gross.
was Hina and Azumi beating Rocca and Rina when Azumi got the win with the Azumi Sushi in 7.5 minutes.
A tale as old as time.
Comments to the chef.
6 years, or yeah, compliments to the chef. But 6 years after Ruaka debuted and Azumi pinned her, we are here
That is
once
incredible.
again.
The next match was Miyu Amasaki and Utami Hayashishita beating Momokogo and Hazuki. Utami pinned Momokogo with the shocking Baszler in 7.5 minutes. She did it right this time, and I can see what she's going for. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of ass regardless. But
I dig it, but I
just a
think
nerd
Mayu's
too.
gonna
Like
kick out of it, so
she's
it
just a
doesn't matter.
nerd, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
adore Shayna Baszler. She's one of my favorites. Even though it's been rough.
Hope you're excited for that
But no,
MMA
I think the
rules
move's
match this
fine.
weekend, huh? Her and Ronda Rousey doing fake
They couldn't
fighting.
even call it UW. Like, bro, like, come on, just like if you're gonna do the fake real fighting, at least like do it the pro wrestling
Yeah.
style. You know what I mean? But whatever. She's gonna beat Homegirl's
Yeah.
ass. I'm excited for that. But no, I thought the move. I think the move is fine. I love gut wrench moves. I think it could be better, but I think it's fine. Mayu's definitely kicking out of it though. Like this isn't her finish that's gonna guide her to the
Oh,
promised
honestly,
land.
it's
Um,
I'm kind of can't really get a read on it. She is winning all the matches with it, so
Yeah, but I mean, it's over Mina Shirakawa, which is obviously a bigger win, but that was like her debut of it, and this was over Kogo. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that she could definitely Mayu can kick out of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, that is fair. The match after that then was Saki Kashima and Siri beating Yuna Mizumori and Natsupoi. Saki Kashima got the win in 6 minutes for her team. This was her first
Rivalry.
time teaming with Siri since joining God's Eye because Siri was gone for most of the last month filming. And
The
yes,
vibes are
Saki,
immaculate,
yeah,
dogs.
Saki is an icon.
Also, sorry, I just took a big swig of what I'm drinking. I bet you're gonna keep talking. Also, Sherry with the suspenders,
I
killing
saw
it,
that and I was
killing the
like,
game.
did she wait until a house show to debut new gear, or what's the story there? But then she wore old
It's
gear on the
suspended. It's
next
definitely
show,
not her. Yeah.
so she's just bringing them out for the vibes, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, she also wore like her 2016 gear like a week ago for no reason.
yeah,
Um,
because
like
the
she
one
just
from
does that shit.
Sunday was that Reina gear? She wear that in Reina?
It looks like a gear that she used to
Yeah,
wear.
because
I don't know for sure, but
it
yeah,
jumped out and I was like, that's literally gear that's years old. Like, what is she? What are we
she
doing?
just does that.
Yeah,
She's
why
real
not?
like that.
Um,
The suspenders go hard though.
do. The next match then on the show was Megan Bayne, Mei Seira, and Suzu Suzuki beating Koguma, Saya Ida, and Mayu Iwatani when Megan Bayne got the win over Ida in 10 minutes with what they are calling an F5. I guess technically it is an F5. It's probably the Go
It
to
is an
Hell or
F5.
something, is it? It should be a different name.
Man, do not take your Finnish name from from Sammy Guevara.
Does he
Uh,
say that as well? Go to Hell?
that's his Finnish. Yeah, it's the feast your eyes. All of these names. But yeah, he stole Dijak's finisher and just called it the go to hell because that's how he responded to Dijak saying he stole his finisher.
Oh, right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's the go to hell.
Sounds fun.
And now that 5 is the go to hell, apparently.
Technically, it's the diverticulitis, isn't it? Isn't that the official name in all the wrestling video games? Call it like the
That's because Kevin Steen made it a joke.
oh
Like that like his it's a reference to that people don't understand. Like people are getting upset at AEW for putting it in the game called diverticulitis. It's like, oh my god, this is a condition that Brock had, and that's his finisher. That's really fucked up. And they didn't know that Kevin Owens is the one who came up with that joke.
Right.
Like it's a reference to Kevin Owens.
UG was nasty, man. Those dudes.
Oh, they were,
Those
yeah.
dudes got cancelled so hard.
It's funny. It's funny because like he used to call it the F sync, right? Because he speaks
Oh, yeah.
French, and he's like, nah, we making fun of this guy with an illness. That's what we doing now.
Yeah, there is a reason PWG is not digital. I think we know now why it's so difficult to get PWG. 'Cause, those dudes will all get cancelled. Anyway, this was great. Megan Bayne is the treatment of her here was awesome. Like having her come out separately to the other two. She didn't take part in any of the team moves. Didn't really help her teammates. She just fucked shit up when she needed to. I thought that was great. Like this wasn't. There's no other match on this card like this because every other tag is kind of the same stuff. People just they go 50-50. They all do kickouts. It's fun. We all have a good time. This didn't. That's not what this was. This was the Bane show. Like she changed the flow of the match anytime she got in. And like I think that's really cool. I always think that's really interesting when a wrestler can just change the entire flow of a match just by getting in.
Megan Bayne reminded me of the Undertaker.
Good way or a bad way?
Bad way.
No.
Yeah, like legit. Like there was one spot that I've literally seen the Undertaker do like 17 million times, and she did it, and I was like, I'm done. Nope, we're not doing this. No, I think the match on the next day that she had was like I enjoyed it a lot more. Um, but yeah, this match I was just like, oh, she's just doing that, okay. And then I thought about it, I was like, oh, and then Tam is gonna have to be the one to like foil that. That sucks. I don't want to. No. Like I think this match where I was like, okay, this is what Megan Bayne is going to be in Stardom. Um it more so made me less excited for the Tam match than made me like feel any sort of way about the match itself that I was watching because I was like, "Oh, that's going to not be fun." Um yeah, I just uh, ah she's cool. Like I think some of her stuff is insane. I think it's cool that she's tall, um, and that she fucks people up. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Undertaker vibes from me personally. Koguma speaking English and like explaining the Kuma pose to her,
That was great,
flawless.
yeah.
Flawless execution of a comedy bit from Koguma. Um, yeah, that was really fun. But yeah, I did not get a lot out of this match personally. Honestly, I didn't get a lot of the show. I think the show, I am lower on pretty much everything on it than most people, except for one match that I'm higher on it than most
Scott told me
people on.
about this earlier, and I was like, "What is wrong with him?" So, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I haven't told Scott. Does Scott look at my fucking spreadsheet?
He must do, yeah, because he was like, Dylan's an interesting guy, and I was like, I know. And he said he has one match as his favorite of the weekend that raised an eyebrow, and I was like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Um, we'll get to that in a few minutes. I don't know. I feel like you're just
It's-
missing the goodness of Bane. Like, there's nobody in this company that operates like this. It's just so interesting, you know?
I know you're a Baniac, and I know that that's like your thing,
Okay,
right?
no,
I get that.
this. Hold on.
And
Like, tell me, is
I was waiting to drop Maniac. I was waiting to drop that this entire show. I was waiting, bro. That the like the tremble in your voice. That's why I want in my life. That was beautiful. Go
hope
on.
you're happy. You're pleased with
Yeah,
yourself. Um,
a little
okay.
bit. Yeah.
I don't know. There's nobody in this company doing it quite like this. Like, there's nobody who gets in the ring and the entire vibe changes the way Megan Bayne does. And then the way everybody else plays off her is just really entertaining. Like, I don't know. I just feel like she's so interesting and so
But
individual.
I feel like that's it, right? And again, a lot of this comes off of like, okay, this is all building to a
You're gonna
Tam
love that
match.
Tam match. I don't know
Um,
what's wrong with you. Like, you've said for like 3 years now that babyface underdog Tam is the best Tam, and that's literally what she's gonna be.
yes. Yes. No, this is true. But I don't think she's like as good as at the David versus Goliath match as like if you put Natsupoi in there with Megan Bayne in a singles, I would eat it up, right? Like I think Tam isn't as good as at like David versus Goliath, unless yeah, she's just not. Um, and so the way I look at that is that it's like, okay, so these are people that are like kind of, and this is the story, right? Is that people are like working around her almost, because they have to, because it's like this imposing woman who like you can't really do anything about. Hanako kind of went at it with her in the next show. That was the first time somebody really like just got physical with her. And I thought that was super fun. Um, but it's just kind of like, okay, so these people are working around her as a gimmick, but it kind of just makes her feel like she's just a wrestler who is slowly walking around the ring as other people kind of just figure it out. You know what I mean? And usually it that evolves over time. This is just this match. Like I said, I like the match in day two better. But it did feel a bit like, oh, so it's just okay. I don't know, because I feel like the way that you describe it and the way I describe it are pretty similar. I just view it in a negative light, and you view it in a positive light, right? The vibe is completely different when Megan Bayne is in the ring. I agree, and I don't think I really like it. I think it kind of just like makes it
Wow.
disconnected. Like it feels like the match is just like it doesn't flow at all.
Cannot believe you have
Especially
pure
this one.
brain. Can't believe we've lost you to pure brain. This is truly,
What are you?
truly terrible.
You're just launching accusations at me.
You called me a Baniac. This is revenge. You
It's
deserve
true.
this.
But Maniac's funny. I
No,
mean,
I
that's
used
a that's a
it the
good
other
one.
day. Like
I'm
I
patting
used
myself on the
Baniac
back.
the other day. I know it's good.
I didn't even know
I
that.
used
I didn't even know that.
used it against Scott. I used it against Scott because he was hyping up Megan Bayne, which is he's supposed
Yeah,
to do that.
you too.
He's the Joshi guy and has to praise the women.
Maniacs
And I
over
remember
here.
quote tweeting him on my alt like he isn't a real Baniac.
It's insane. I wish I saw that because I would be referencing that. I just came up with that
Well,
on
you
my own
didn't.
last night.
You
I was like, oh,
stole it. You
I
stole
should
it from
call him a
me.
maniac.
We share the same brain. This is very
uh,
scary. But yeah, I
yeah,
called Scott
and yet we argue. It's insane.
because we share the same brain, probably. But
The same
fuck's
Bane.
sake. Anyway,
You have Bane on the brain, you maniac. Come on, calm down.
this was funnier when I was being mean to Scott like 2 seconds ago. Anyway, um, the next match on the show was Julia beating Hanan in the Blue Stars block to move up to 3 points. Julia won with the Glorious Driver in 8 minutes. And it was at this point where I went, oh, this is Hanan's tournament. She's going to have these very similar matches
Okay, yeah.
throughout, um, where the other person is clearly better, and Hanan just kind of does all her shit to try and win, and then doesn't. I thought this was pretty solid.
Yeah, I love this match. This was the aforementioned
How?
favorite match
How?
of the weekend. Uh,
What?
because it did not suffer from a
The
crowd
very
issue
next
at
match.
all.
The very
Like I think
next
that was
match.
also
No, it
suffered from a
didn't.
crowd
They did
issue.
head drops. Oh my
Yes,
god,
it
Dylan.
did.
Come on.
No, I thought this match was great. I really enjoyed it a lot. It felt old school, which I'm always like a if you can recapture a certain magic that I saw
I
in
like how your voice got
2018
gravelly.
Stardom.
You're like, I'm old school, brother.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
old
old. I
school.
got old in a second. Yeah. I aged 40
Yeah.
years in that moment. But no, if you can get a match that like captures kind of the vibe of like a really fun 2018 house show match from Stardom, uh, then that's the different I'm looking for on a Stardom show nowadays. And this was kind of that because it did feel it just felt fun. I just enjoyed it a lot. It was longer than the Michael one, and it built super well to the finish. Um, it felt like it just kept getting better and better, and then it ended, and I was like, oh, I could have done with more of that. And when you feel that way about a match, that's a positive in my opinion. When you feel like, oh, if they would have added like a couple minutes to this, I would have like that would have been just as good, or it would have been better. Like that's when you're like, okay, that's just a baseline really good match. Uh, and yeah, I just really liked it. Hana no sold a backdrop driver because fuck you, that's her move, and I love that. I think that's so dope. And yeah, I just really love this match overall. It was really fun. wasn't like match of the tournament anywhere near that. I
All
just
right.
really
Yeah.
enjoyed
I
it.
mean, I just thought it was solid. So. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I was dreading this recording because there are matches that I'm just like, yeah, that was fine, and like matches that I
How
really
how
loved, and I
is
was like,
how
oh,
is tournament fatigue
people
is
are gonna
hit
get on me for
after
that one.
3 shows? Because that's what tournament fatigue usually results in.
No, it's hit because the
They
crowds were
were.
so
They
fucking
were.
bad on
Oh
these
man.
2 shows specifically that, like, I just was so exhausted. I was just like, "Are we already, like, phoning it in as a crowd?" And, like, I was just like not the next match. I'm not talking about May versus Anu. But I was just like, "Jesus, bro, this is what we're doing? This is who we are? Really?
Used to
To
be a
day
country.
2?" Uh,
Real country.
yeah. But
Anyway.
yeah, the next match isn't what I'm
Okay.
talking about
No,
there.
I think
But
we're
yeah.
both going in the same direction. Anyway, the next match was a Blue Stars block match. Saori Anou moved up to 3 points when she beat Mariah May in 9.5 minutes with what the website is calling unknown. Great report in there, Stardom website.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was a leg trapped armbar,
Oh, okay.
a figure forward armbar, like a figure. She figure forward the leg and then got the
She
armbar in.
simply bent her
Um,
in two, and that's really all you
yeah,
need.
she just
Okay.
broke her. She
She
broke her as a
did,
human being.
yes. This was a really good match. Like when you start a match with a Saito suplex and a power bomb to the floor, you kind of have me won over. But then they were hitting some head drops late in the match that made me go, yeah, this is
Yeah,
good. This is the good stuff. Saori Anu's leg work I thought was really good as well. I've never seen her do limb work, but it was really
yeah.
interesting. Um, I thought like they carried it pretty well, and yeah, the big spots were big spots, and they were pretty fun. So I thought this was good, and I thought it overcame the crowd. I didn't think this needed a crowd. Like they were just doing shit, and it worked.
See, yeah, I thought this was really fun. I thought that the first like couple minutes was absurd. I thought it was great. I agree. I think May just kind of going insane, and then Anu just being like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna break your leg. I think that's great. And then yeah, I liked near the finish. I thought it was pretty fun. But there was this like period of time. How long did
Nine
this
and a
match go?
half.
Yeah, there was like this minute in the middle there where it wasn't any fault of their own, I would say, but like I was just like, oh, like it felt like it felt like 1 minute within the match took like 10, and then the rest of it was good. Like, does that make any sense to anybody? Probably not. Because it just felt for like a brief, very brief period of time. It was like, oh my god, this crowd is not giving this match anything, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to like pick back up, and the crowd doesn't want to pick back up because, I was just like, oh man, this is, and then it picked back up, and it was good. Um, this wasn't a bad match by any means. I enjoyed it, right? But there was definitely a period, like a point where I was just like, I just kind of recognized the atmosphere and the environment, and I was just like, oh boy, this is rough. And then it, you know, kind of did away with that. But that's why I wouldn't say it was like a great match because there was like that minute in there where I was just like, oh, this is kind of a slog, and then it completely proved me wrong. So yeah, I'm not saying this is a bad match, but I mean it was one of the better matches definitely on the weekend.
We're on some
Um,
crazy downers today.
but yeah, that's why I'm a bit
This is
slower.
this is crazy. I'm usually the nitpick one. Like you're nitpicking here. This is crazy. But
A little bit.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, listen,
I
no, I thought it was
That's
good too.
fair. I thought Mariah would do the power bomb as like a big show thing, but she's just like, no, like you were taking the bump, and I think that's great. Just power bomb them to the
The
floor.
power bombshell.
It's great. I
That's
love
the
it.
name.
Isn't there like a podcast
Power
called that?
bombshell.
I'm pretty sure there's a power bombshells podcast about.
Probably. That sounds like such a podcast
Yeah,
name.
and it's a women's wrestling one too, because all the women's wrestling ones have like really clever names usually, except ours, obviously. But you know,
Hey, you asked me to come up with a name and I
I
tried.
also tried, and they were bad.
I don't see
So.
one. It doesn't look like. Wait, should we steal power bombshell? I mean, we're not women, so I feel like that might be a bit like,
Yeah,
because there's
I'm
not a
pretty sure there
podcast with
was a
that.
Power Bombshells show. Maybe not though.
It
It does.
sounds
It
like a great
does.
name.
Anyway, Mariah beat us to it, so it doesn't matter. Um,
That's true.
the main event then of the show was another Blue Stars block match. Mina Shirakawa moved up to 2 points when she beat Mirai in 14 minutes and 47 seconds with the figure four driver Mina. I don't think that's what it actually is, but you know what? We ball. Um, I've
Close
never seen
enough.
a crowd suck the life out of a match quite like this, because this went from this might be up there with Siri versus Suzu to like not even top 5 in the tournament, because they were going crazy, and
No.
there was a point where Mirai spiked Mina on her head like 90s puro crazy bastard style, and like 3 dudes went, "Oh." That was it. That was the only reaction they got all match.
Yeah, and it I don't, and again, I know that I've been nitpicky already, but I don't know if this is like off. It felt like it affected the wrestlers, which is
I feel
not
like they
good.
worked a
Um,
Wonder
because
title match, which always has crowd investment,
it felt
and it
like there
didn't have
was
the investment.
not. Yeah, it felt like there wasn't enough
Yeah.
energy in between the moves to make up for the crowd whatsoever, right? So I was just like, it's like a lot of shit was dope, right? And like every couple spots I was like, "Oh, and now we're going to really pick up." And then it just kind of they just kept wrestling at like like I don't know, it it just kept going and the crowd didn't care. And over time it felt like they were just like, "Okay, let's just do the moves and get out of here, bro." Uh and every once in a while there'd be a huge move. Like Mina slapped the piss out of Mariah. I was like, oh, now the match is really waking up. This is when it's gonna get really, and then it just like continued just not hitting. I mean, they fucked each other up. That's the fucked up thing about this match, I would say. Is that it's like they messed each other up. They were hitting each other as hard as they possibly could, and they were just going insane. But the vibe, which I'm a big vibe guy, as everybody knows, just wasn't there for me on this match majorly because of the crowd, and also because it felt like when they realized that the crowd wasn't that into it, they just like were like, okay, well, let's just do as much as we can to try to get them into it, and they just couldn't. And I was just like, oh, that was disappointing. Um, yeah, this was the match where I was just like,
This
oh
crowd
man,
has earned this crowd has
I
earned a
wanted this to be
Sendai
really good.
badge of never again. You deserve scorn
Yeah,
for this. Because yeah, they were awful for the entire show. But this match really, I think, was what was killed by it, because they worked. If this same match happens on a pay-per-view for the Wonder title, I think everybody waxes lyrical about it, because there'd be actual energy from the crowd. But without that, they just sucked the life out of it, and it was really disappointing, because they were killing each other, as you kind of said, and the pace was really good and everything. Like, they worked a great match, and the crowd just, it was like a library, um, and it really took away from it. So, I mean, I hope they run this back on pay per view, because I mean, I wanted Mina versus Mirai a while ago, and I still want it now. And I just hope
yeah.
they get it where there's a crowd that's actually invested, that can give them the energy that they need. Because yeah, they just kind of sucked the life out of this one, even though it was still great. I mean, Mina was throwing them slaps and the back fists, and Mirai was doing her stuff. It was really fun. But yeah, it just wasn't able to touch kind of the best stuff from the day one, because day one had actually good crowd to help. Um,
Oh yeah. It felt like after a while they was kind of going through the motions, and the motions were killer, but it just didn't feel motivated. And I think that's because the crowd was not motivating them
yeah, I mean,
whatsoever.
this just reminded me of like the dead air that you get in some promotions. When two people do a big move and then nothing happens. Whereas in Joshi, there's usually like crowds are like clapping along or whatever. But they didn't really do that here. They do a lot of dead air, but you know, credit to Mina and Mirai for giving it their best. Mirai is having a killer tournament, as we'll kind of touch on the next
Y-
show.
you know, I want to. This is very off
Oh boy.
topic, but you mentioned. I'm sorry. We're 45 minutes in. We're halfway through the important stuff. We're calm down. Um, but it's funny how much we as wrestling fans know about wrestling, like sort of subconsciously. I don't think I've ever told this story on the podcast before. Uh, I when I live in Chicago, I live with a friend of mine, and I'm always on her computer, and she'll just be like on the couch or whatever, and I'll be on the computer watching wrestling, and she'll be like, "What do the claps mean?" Like, 'cause I'll be watching Joshi, and she'll be like, "What do the claps mean?" And I explained to her that it's like, "Oh, well, this clap is like anticipation to a move. This clap is for a celebration of the move. This clap," and then I just thought about it. I'm just like, "Holy shit! Why do I know so much about how these Japanese people clap for wrestling? Like, that's that's insane. That's just like common knowledge to me that I could just spit out that I don't really think about ever. Nobody really thinks about what the claps mean in wrestling. I don't think." Um, But yeah, that you mentioned that, and I thought that was a funny little story that I was thinking about the other day. Um, because yeah, I explained what every single clap in a match meant, and why they were clapping in that like way, for each individual thing. And yeah, I might just be a little. There might be a couple screws loose. So that might be
Yeah,
why. That might be why.
possibly.
I'll admit that. But yeah, I just thought that was a funny little thing, to tell you. You know, uh, crowds in wrestling are very important.
Yes. But that is
That's
that match, and that is that show. Um, Before moving on to the next day, I suppose it's just looking at the blocks after day three. It was in Blue Stars, Anu and Julia were leading the way with 3 points, and on the Red Stars, nobody had matches on this show, so everybody on 2 points is still leading together. So yeah, nothing like super intriguing there from the blocks as of yet. Um, Top three matches of the tournament check after day three. Was yours the same?
it's
Yeah,
the
mine
same.
was also the same.
It's the same.
Um, it was close to putting Mina versus Mirai up there. Like I said, at one point it was like almost as good as Suzu versus Yuri, and then it just kind of fell off. And I mean, it's probably tied with the other two that I had in third. But yeah, it kind of
It's
fell from a
crazy.
definite number two to maybe top five. So upsetting.
It is. It is far down on my list. I'm gonna
That's
be real.
crazy. You just need. What is wrong with you today? Anyway,
No, yeah, we'll talk about good
will we?
matches on the second
Okay.
show that we watched.
So
We
the
will.
next show to review then was on July 30th. This was Starverse presents 5-Star GP 2023, supported by SoftBank Konosu Tournament, the Konosu Municipal General Gymnasium in front of 412 fans. In the opener, Ruaka and Natsuko Tora beat Miyu Amasaki and Hina in a match that doesn't even seem fair.
Yeah. Why are they doing homegirls like
Well,
that?
why not? The match after that was Tekla and Julia beating Yuna Mizumori and Tam Nakano. Julia pinned Yuna with the Glorious Driver in just under 9 minutes. Next match was
This was an wait. This was a nothing match. But there was one really funny spot. Yuna went for her like
yeah,
big splash, and Julia was meant to get her feet up, but Unimon accidentally was too precise with the splash and just went like right in between her legs and just completely fucked it up, but like hit it flush. So they both had to sell because they didn't know what the fuck to do, and it was very
all
funny.
right.
Because Unimon just hit a splash, but Julia had her legs up, but she didn't stop her. It was just really funny because they were both like, "Oh, that hurt. I don't know what should we do now? What the fuck do we do now?" It was really funny.
Incredible. The next match was Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa beating Momo Kogo and Hazuki. Mina Shirakawa got the win with the implant DDT in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The match after that was Koguma, Saida, and Mayu Iwatani beating Lady C, Azumi, and Utami Hayashishita. Koguma got the win in 12.5 minutes with a diving body press. So that's good. That's kind of surprising.
Yes, this was good.
This was the Utami
Um,
Mayu
there,
preview that the Stardom English account hyped up like a
yes.
Stan account.
The first time that Mayu was brought out the IWGP belt in so long.
Wow.
I am not joking. She did not bring it on the show before this. Uh, yeah. So this was really
Hmm.
good, obviously, because it's these six wrestlers. After the match was kind of where things kind of got interesting. Uh, Utami promised to show Maya the new Utami, whatever that means, at Stardom X Stardom. That might just mean the Utami that she is right now, or it might mean that she's gonna like I don't know have new gear or something. Um, she might just mean like post excursion Utami, and she just didn't show her enough in this match or whatever. But Mayu said a lot of interesting stuff. Um, she was just like, "Yeah, I don't want to lose this, and I don't think the belt wants to not be with me anytime soon. So Utami, you can like maybe wait a couple years, wait 2 or 3 years, and then you could take it. And I just found that so interesting as someone who's like, a Mayu and Utami fan, because it's like this is kind of like a representation of like Utami achieving the ace role, right? Because that's always what her and Mayu's been. And I find it very funny that Mayu's like, yeah, you're gonna have to wait a couple more years. And I've like, I don't know, even though it's just about, a belt doesn't really matter. It felt very symbolic by her saying that because like Utami just like had like this like dead look on her face when she said it. And I was just like, that just felt very real for a second, and I kind of loved it. So yeah, that's the thing to take away from
The
that.
very specific wording used by the Stardom account to hype this match was, "Yeah, we're calling it now. Aya versus Utami is going to slap, and it's going to slap hard. Certified banger incoming."
And it's going to slap hard.
Um, yeah,
Certified
they were tweeting
banger
like the Stan
incoming.
account. Like, I gotta give praise there.
Okay, you could say one of them. This is gonna slap, or this is gonna be a certified banger. They're both
Mhm.
cringy, but you could say either of them. Saying both,
Yeah, yeah,
that's that's
yeah.
a lot, bud. That's a lot.
That was that match. The next match was Megan Bayne,
No, it was.
Sarah, and Micah
Go
beating
on.
Hanako, Saki Kashima, and Suri. Megan Bayne got the win for her team with the F5 over Hanako. Um, ev-
Alex is mega sus because he'd much rather talk about Megan Bayne than the two greatest wrestlers in modern Stardom. That's crazy. Um,
you are getting off the
yeah.
show. I'm sorry, you're getting kicked off. That one.
Oh man.
That is terrible. You should feel bad.
I mean, okay, let's continue.
No, leave. um, yeah,
My bad.
yeah. This was great. Again, because Saki Kashima is very funny. Um,
Yes.
she wanted all the smoke originally, and then when she went to tag out,
Maybe her eyesight was bad because like Bane was in the background, so she's like, "Oh yeah, white girl, come on, we could fight." And she like walked up to her and realized she's like 7 feet taller than her. She's
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, no, we ain't doing this."
she went
She
to
just
tag
walked away.
out, but then Suri and Hanako had dropped off the apron, so she had no choice but to fight the big Megasis. And that kind of continued throughout the match. The threat of Saki being afraid for her life, because there was one point where uh, not really God's Eye trio, but you know what I mean. The God's Eye team, they were like going for a pinfall on somebody. And Saki had to do the thing where she knocks the teammates off the ropes. So
Yeah.
she touched Megan on the shoulder and ran instead of knocking her off the ropes.
Actually, I think I actually really liked the way that they played off of Bane here
Yeah.
because I don't think Bane was left in the ring for all that long,
Mhm.
and it made it probably better because it was just like kind of apron shenanigans. Because Hanako, the only person who stands like head to head basically with Megan, maybe a couple inches shorter, right? Um, she just goes up to her and like hits her and just like okay, and then she like runs away, and I was like, you're the same size, honey. We can do this.
Yeah.
Like you are not at a disadvantage here, really. um, and I found that very funny, and also like you said, Saki just being Saki was
Yeah.
great. And then yeah, I thought Hanako and Megan was quite fun actually.
Yeah, it was nice to see somebody like fight up to Bane. Um, even though it's only her second match, but you know what I mean. Micah and Siri, they briefly did a thing, and during this, I was like, oh, this show has no vibes because
No,
Siri's kicks weren't hitting. Then Micah tried her like rope assisted suplex and missed, and I was like, okay, this show we're calling it off. It's over. Um, because
she didn't even miss. It just was like not as
no,
swift, and that provoked zero
yeah.
reaction. They're like, "Oh, her foot was like a half an inch off." No,
So
don't care.
it
Fuck
was at
you.
this
Like what?
point
What was
it was
happening?
at this point we should have punted the show because the crowd was again dead. This time they were dead with a hum of AC units all around the venue. So the
Yeah.
entire show had this background noise. I was like, this is absurd. So vibes for this show were not immaculate, even if the vibes of Saki and Megan were immaculate. Megan did, of course, win. and looked very dominant in the process. There was no promo after like Suzu gave her, although as they were leaving, Megan did her pose, and May Sarah behind her made to do the pose, but was caught in the act by Megan, and then looked like she was fearing for her life, and that was incredible.
I mean, that's just what Miss Sarah's doing
Yeah,
right now, is fearing for
May
her life
Sarah is
alongside
incredible.
Megan.
Like her everything she does is
Yeah.
is great. Somewhere Mariah was
I didn't
watching
expect her to be
with
so
like so
good.
much glee on her face with when May was fearing for her life. Um,
I didn't expect her to be so good character-wise. Like, I knew she was gonna be good character-wise, but, like, she just feels, like, so
complete. Yeah.
good. Yeah, she just feels so good at, like, just being a character,
hmm
um, while still being a good wrestler and still not being, like, over the top, like, dumb character. Like, it's just, like, she stands out a lot just from her basic, like, you know, her facial expressions and just the way she kind of carries herself. Micah did say that she wants both May and Bane to join DDM, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I will say that that does mean that the list is added in the event of of Rossi going back to the Super DDM. Megan Bayne is the newest possible addition to Super Team DDM.
All right. Um, After that, then we got into GP action. There was only 2 GP matches. I assume Saya was meant to wrestle on this, but couldn't. Oh yeah, because
Yeah, it was her versus Natsuko.
Natsuko has 4 points now. So the first of the GP matches was a Blue Stars block match when Mirai moved up to 2 points as she finally got her first win of the tournament. She beat Hanan in 9 minutes with a jumping lariat. Um, I thought this was a better version of Julia versus Hanan in like every way. Thought Mirai was really good in her role of beating the shit out of Hanan, and she sold for some of the stuff a lot better. Um, so yeah, I thought this was a better
See,
version
I
of what they
I would
did.
compare this more. I'd compare this more to the Micah match, and this was a better version of that with Hanan.
Uh,
I mean, because they did a lot of the judo opening stuff. Um, but yeah, I would have this pretty much around the same level, probably a little bit lower than the Julia match personally with Hanan. Yeah, I thought this was really really good. This match did struggle because the crowd was so dead a little bit. Um, I think there's a certain intangible thing about Hanan, uh,
it's Mirai.
just
It's
being
Mirai that
an
needs the
underdog
crowd.
against
Mirai
Mariah.
needs the
Yeah,
crowd more than anything.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Exactly, and I don't think Hanan needs I think she's just a baby. She's just an underdog, and that kind of just care. You could watch that in a vacuum, and it's impossible to not get it. But wrestlers like Mariah and Mina, those are two wrestlers who do very much rely on the crowd to kind of make the match feel more than it is sometimes. Uh, so yeah, I think Hanan has a good match layout in this tournament. I'm like, okay, this is gonna get her pretty far, just in terms of like she's pretty consistent because of her layout. It's hard to have a terrible match with Hanan right now. But yeah, that was really fun, but there was definitely some, you know, crowd related issues. The lariat that everybody gift on Twitter was cool.
yes.
I will say, with full audio and full context,
All
it
of her
was dope.
lariats in this were crazy.
Um,
She was putting Hanan through the ringer.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was great, and that's why it was better than the
She
Julia
this was
match.
this was
It was
the
like,
this was the Mirai's gonna kill you match,
yeah,
and I
you
I
know, it was
loved it.
great. And it was definitely this is a better version of what we've seen with Hanan in the tournament because Mirai really went for it. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. And also, that 2.9 count on
I
the
still
Hanan
prefer
roll
the
up
Julia
was
match, but yes.
ridiculous. That got this crowd to react. That was the only thing that got this crowd to
Yeah.
react.
That was probably the
Yeah,
biggest
of
reaction
the
of the night,
weekend.
yeah.
Never mind the night of the weekend. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was really good as well. That near fall. So yeah, this is very well done. The main event then was a Red Stars block match. Natsupoi moved up to 4 points when she beat Suzu Suzuki in 9 minutes with a fairy strain. Suzu was on 0 points currently,
Was not
which is
expecting
quite
that.
surprising. This was a very good match. Definitely feel like they have another level in them, but it was very good for what they
Yeah.
did. And the German suplexes were a very beast. Like that.
Oh, you said you liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said "like
Oh,
and then
yeah,
just cut
sorry. No,
off.
I
I was
like
like,
I liked it.
What
Yeah, I
just
liked the
happened?"
match.
Okay. Yeah, I liked it as well. I thought it was really, really good. This was up there with the top match of the weekend. Um, I did enjoy it a lot. It was, and the reason I sound like a negative Nancy is just because the crowds were so shit, right?
Crowds have got you
It's
like
not because I thought that
very
anybody did.
philosophical. I don't know, like you really haven't reacted well to it.
No, no, I think
Like some of your
they were really shit.
rationalizations have been
Um,
insane today. So
how so?
I
No,
feel like
I'm
you
gonna
being
counter that.
like
How so?
Mariah and Mina need a crowd to make the match more than it is was a bit like this isn't like peak Nagayo crowds they wrestle in front of. Like they just need a bit of energy. I don't know.
Well, no, but that's what I mean is that it's like a Mirai match in an empty venue is not going to be as good as a Mirai match in a loaded venue ever. But I think that there are wrestlers who have pretty consistent matches regardless. Like, does that make sense?
Kind
I
of.
think that the
I
variable
just feel
is
like you
different for each
oversold it a
wrestler.
little bit, you know?
Um,
It's
I really did not like Mina versus Mirai. I was very disappointed, like
what is wrong
incredibly
with you?
disappointed by
Like
it.
Mina
Um,
kicked her in the head. Like
and it felt like it didn't matter. Like just the vibe
you
was
sound like
off.
me watching
It
an
felt
Okada
like
match. This is
each
like what do you
move.
like what? This is
Yeah.
you're treating it like New
No,
Japan.
yeah.
This is not New Japan.
See, this is why I was dreading this recording because anytime I am like, oh, this Mina match bombed for me, I am made to feel bad about it
Well,
by
it's
my
it's
wonderful
just
friend
like it
Alex.
was such a
Um,
really well done match. I don't know how you didn't enjoy it. Like they were hitting each other.
it just felt like
There was slaps.
there was no
Mariah was
vibe
doing
to
her
it.
stuff.
Not okay. I keep using the word
It was a
vibe. I need to use a
miniature
different
white
word.
belt
My bad.
match. Like if this
Um,
was anywhere else, you would have enjoyed it. I don't think the crowd really killed it that much.
I think it did. That's the thing is that's like because there is no crowd to rally the
They were
wrestlers.
still there. They
It
were
just
still
felt like
clapping a bit.
not really. It didn't feel
If
like
they were
it
terrible,
felt
but they
like
still existed. You know?
they would hit each other, they would go to the ground, and then they'd get back up and hit each other again. And there was no like flow to it whatsoever. That's just how it felt to me. Was like, oh wow, this is just a match that's they're wrestling and I don't have much else to say about it. Like they are doing moves that are cool because they are cool wrestlers who have cool moves, but it just felt like there was so much lost in the in between, right? There was just so much not there that makes a great Mina match or a great Mirai match. Because all they had was, oh, I slapped the fuck out of you and that was awesome. And I was like, oh my god, that was awesome. And then after that, I was just like, oh, that was it felt like none of it meant anything. Any of the cool stuff that did happen, it felt like none of it meant anything. Um, but that's on that match, which was on the show that we already finished covering. No, I thought the Suzu versus Natsupoi was really good. Um, it just was harder for them to build a more satisfying finish because the crowd was dead. Um,
They
it was
did.
still
They
really good though.
did. With the,
Yeah, they did. No, that's what
you
I mean.
know,
It was hard for them to do it, but they did
because
it, which
Natsupoi
all
said
credit to
"fuck
them.
your neck." It was great.
Yes,
Yeah, Suzu
Suzu was
was
also
trying
really
to
good.
no sell the Germans, and Natsupoi was like, "Okay, then I will simply kill you," and I think that's great. So yeah, this is really well done. You definitely could have a much better match though. I mean, I don't think Suzu was like crazy Suzu in this one. It was mostly just Natsupoi doing the stuff. So another match where there's more Suzu violence would obviously like go crazy. This was just a nice taste of what they could do, and really that's all the crowd deserved. So that was it.
Yeah, and like I've said, I think Natsupoi or I think Natsupoi's house style as well is really good. But I think Suzu has such like a baseline that's almost hard for her to like even when she's like kind of phoning it in, it still feels like she's pretty good at least.
Yeah,
Uh she's what somewhat capable. I'm trying to check out what their match last year was like. Was this better than that? Yeah, I consider this match, at least by my grading thing, I consider the match this year better than their match last year,
enough.
which looks like it happened in the middle of the, you know,
All right.
yeah. But yeah, so I enjoyed it.
Okay. Natsupoi took us home. I feel like she said something very entertaining, but I've completely forgot.
She, her closing is, I say bye poi, and then you guys, the crowd says, um, what is bye poi?
It is so good.
and then I leave.
She's so great.
She also complimented the crowd for being so hot. I was like, "You're lying. You are incorrect. I will be real." But maybe it might. All of our criticisms about Stardom's crowds could very well just be that they have terrible
Yeah.
audio.
I feel like this one was
Which is likely
justified
the
though. I
case.
was looking at the faces, the dead faces of the people.
Yeah.
They were
No,
glazed
yeah,
over.
definitely.
It was great.
But good audio can save a dead crowd if it's like, okay, just like really like maybe not save it, but it can make it a little bit better. They just did not do that. You heard more like the air conditioner was louder than the crowd at every point of this match. Um,
It was
it was
very
or every point of the
distracting.
show. It was
That
rough.
was the big issue with this match was the AC was so distracting. And like anytime they weren't doing a move, it was like an airplane was taking off. It was very off-putting. But what can you do? That was that show though. That is our second show to review. After the end of this show, the red block has two clear leaders, Natsupoi and Natsuko on 4 points. So they're out in front in the red block, and the blue block it only had Mirai catching up in hers. So that's still led by Julia and Sayori Ano. So sometimes top three matches of the tournament after this are the same for both of us, I imagine.
Yes, all day
Okay
long.
then. All right. I don't even remember my actual top three, so we're just gonna
Well,
roll
my
with
top
it.
three was Momo Mirai, Hazuki Mayu, and then Suzushuri. There.
All right.
I write these things down.
I think mine was the same, just in a different order.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have 3 shows to preview this weekend. We love it. The first is on the 5th of August. This is Starverse Presents 5-Star GP 2023 in Komatsu, supported by SoftBank. This is in the Ishikawa Suhiro Gymnasium in Komatsu City. Outside of the GP, I wonder if there's anything fun happening. Let
Ida
us
versus
see.
Hanako.
That is not fun. Rose Gold?
We're having a
Whoa.
bad day today.
Rose
We're having
Gold.
a bad day.
Rose Gold versus Bayne and Sarah and Tekla
I
and
was
Julia.
joking. I was
Wow.
joking when I called you a Baniac. This is insane. Like that sounds like a fun match, but you
It's Rose Gold. What do you want from me? Julia
Rose
and
Gold also
Tekla.
wrestled like 4 times in the past 2 weeks.
Julia and Tekla.
This is not new.
This is
Yeah,
Rose
that's
Gold.
fun.
Like, you know.
And also Megan Bayne and May Sarah.
Yes, and we love their dynamic because it's very funny.
Yes.
Okay.
May Sarah's dope.
Thank you. That's about it though. There's an Away to Tai Queen's Quest match where Away to Tai is gonna curb stomp.
Oh, that's why. They're so mean.
Yeah, that is pretty harsh. Is Utami just not on the show?
No, she's not on this
she's
card.
getting a break. Good for her. So yeah, there's 3 GP matches on this one. The first one is a Red Stars block match. It is Suzu Suzuki who has no points and Starlight Kid who may also have no points. Let me check. I have to.
She also has no points.
Okay, so
She only had one match.
Suzu is 0 for 2 and Starlight Kid is 0 for 1. Either one could win. They've both got flash pins in their back pocket.
I feel like it's got to be Suzu,
They're gonna
honestly.
do
I
one of
feel like
those
this is-
oh, Suzu keeps losing, aha, and then she wins a bunch to end it. Because like Kid could just win.
Well, I mean, she's already lost 2.
Yeah, so go 0 and 4 or something. They usually do that shit.
0-4 means that you can only get 10 points. And I feel like Suzu only winning 4 matches properly because the Saya match isn't happening is probably not what you want to do.
Why not?
Because that makes her look very bad.
She's alright. Asuka lost like 6 in a row last year. We're fine.
I also think that she's probably going to the final. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Could probably go to the final with 10 points though.
You cannot go to the final.
Why
with 10
not?
points this year. It is very unlikely.
Oh, I don't know.
You're probably gonna have to reach 12 overall because it's so. Well, I guess it is.
What if she doesn't go to the?
middle of the
What if she
road.
doesn't go to the final and she wins on the last day to get to 10 points and that's where she finishes?
I don't think. I mean, it's possible, but I just feel like she's probably due a win here. Because 3 in a row within the same week is kind of rough.
Yeah, but that's how they do things sometimes. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm leaning Kid. I'm leaning towards Starlight Kid, not just because she's your mortal enemy. Promise.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. Like, there are plenty of matches that I think that Kid is very likely to win. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not predicting Kid to lose all of them.
Yeah.
But and hell, before the tournament, I said, "Oh, Kid's probably winning this." But I also didn't expect uh Suzu to lose against Natsupoi, right? And I feel like you gotta win one of these against Kid or Natsupoi. Personally, that's kind of how I see it. Um, but I don't know for sure. I feel like it's gonna be Suzu. I feel like Starlight Kid's gonna have a rough year. But she's gonna I think she's the one who is gonna do like the big comeback type of thing more than anybody. Uh, because of the Nanai loss with New Blood, it felt like they were kind of keeping her in place for a minute. So I don't expect her to be like beating everybody. And I think the Natsupoi loss kind of indicates that to me, as well. On top of the Nanai loss, so I'm leaning more towards Suzu just having a better tournament and as a result winning here. But I don't know for sure, obviously. It's gonna be a good match though. I mean, Suzu versus Kid was probably like my top 3 Kid match last year, um, along with like the Mayu one.
Yeah, I mean, my own kid is good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might not get the time on this card, depending on how long the other two go. But if they have just a sprint, I feel like they could do well. And yeah, then kid wins.
I mean, yeah, they definitely have a. I mean, they're great together. As long as nobody gets DQ'd again, Kid, looking at you.
Oh
This
yeah, I
will be really
forgot
fun.
that happened. That's really funny. Anyway,
The match was actually quite bad too. Like they were like building something, and it just wasn't
um,
building, and it was yeah. Uh,
crazy.
but yeah, the GP they should do good.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope so. The next match then is a Blue Stars block match. It is Mirai versus Azumi. Azumi's only had one match. She's 2-0,
Yes, and she lost.
and Mirai is 1-2.
She's
Yeah,
1-1.
she's been on all of them. Um, yes, usually we would have Azumi winning, like we call that, but yeah, I think Mirai
Mirai
gets it this
definitely
time.
wins here.
Yeah. Um,
I haven't thought Azumi beats Mirai like ever. I want like I was talking to Scott. I really wish she could because that would be fun. But I just don't see it happening.
yeah. Well, I mean, she'd be like in
Yeah.
line for a white belt match then, and I don't think that's the avenue. So save it for somebody else,
I mean they need new challengers.
I guess. But they've already got Mina and Momo now, so
Yeah, but Mina's not a new challenger. She just held it like, and Momo's not a new challenger
yeah.
either.
But it's gonna be great, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Mirai wins. The next one then is a Blue Stars block match. It is Saori Ano versus Maika. This is a big one. I
Micah has
think we
not wrestled
have.
yet. She just had the first one
Oh yeah, she had
against
Hanan.
Hanan.
Do you think we get an Angel Killer here? Is Ano finally dropping points?
Oh man, if she did, it would be so beautiful, and everything would be just in this world, and I could do like the Peps-esque tweet, where I'm just like, "Oh, Micah is so cool. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at
Like,
how cool she is."
does
Uh,
Maika maybe have a strong tournament until she faces off with Julia, and then
I
it's
feel like she
messed
has
up
to
or
beat
whatever?
Julia though.
It depends on where they want to go, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like this. I predicted Anu to win this from the jump, and
Yeah.
I don't really see any reason to not still feel that way personally. Um, Anu could lead the block in that case, right? She would be at the top of the block
Yeah.
with one draw and one win or two wins, so she'd
Wins.
be at
Yeah.
5. Uh, but it would be cool if Micah beat the last Angel. I think that'd be really dope, honestly.
Of course. I mean, I wanted to Angel Killer for the win.
Yeah.
Um, that's all for that show. The next one is the very next day on the 6th of August. This
Oh fuck,
is
there's a blah block match in this one.
um, probably an important venue, somewhat important. I can't really remember.
Hamamatsu.
Anyway, yeah, they run here a lot. I feel
Yeah.
like, but I don't know the size or what they usually draw, so I don't really know. But anyway, this is Star
Check it
Wars
out.
presents 5-Star GP 2023 in Hamamatsu, supported by SoftBank. This is in the Shizuoka Act City Hamamatsu Exhibition Event Hall. They have a very summer themed poster here involving a lot of people, many of which are probably not on the card, if we were to dive into it.
Okay, so last year, for reference, they had the 10th day of the 5-star in Hamamatsu in this exact venue. And it got
Okay.
820 people in it.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Okay.
It was but that wasn't that big of a deal. It was the show with Natsupoi and Julia and Mayu and Ami. Oh, and
All right.
Hazuki Saya. Yeah, that was actually a good show.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, so they give a little bit of a fuck about this one.
All right, that's fair, and it's good for us because there's some cool matches lined up.
Yes.
I have to say it. The opener is
Of
Natsupoi,
course you do.
Natsupoi and Yuna Mizumori versus Mariah May and Megan Bayne. That is the May Sarah hate squad right there. Right, that is her nightmare.
Man, this is where we need pre-match promos back because I need to see Mariah May and Megan just sitting in front of the Stardom
Honestly,
backdrop and just
yeah.
being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
hi."
Saya Ida might not lose because stars are against the Queen's Quest loser trio because Utami is still
Oh wow,
getting rest.
yeah, they will win.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they beat the good Queen's Quest trio as well. Well, the best they
Yeah.
have right now, without Saya. So that trio is actually kind of doing well. That Stars trio.
Yeah. All right, and then we get into 5-star GP action. We have a Blue Stars block match: Mina Shirakawa versus Hanan. Last year, I think one of Hanan's only wins came over Mina.
Yes,
So
Mina's getting it back.
does that become a trend maybe
No,
sometimes?
I feel like Mina's. I mean, yes, it could, but I feel like Mina's getting it back here. Um,
What does Mina have? She is 2 points. She's
yeah,
one for
she's 2
two.
points. She's 1-1.
Yeah, she 1 and 2, isn't she?
No, she's only had 2 matches.
Are you sure?
Utami and Mariah. Yeah.
I could have sworn she wrestled
Nope.
somebody else. All right, well then, I guess she could lose. I think at this stage, I could see them
She's
doing.
1-1. She could lose.
I mean, it's probably
It's
better
kind of
for
weird.
Hanan if she like gets a big win on one of the last days as opposed to the third day.
But I don't know.
Um,
I think getting her up to I think the difference between this year and last year is that she's gonna kinda she's still gonna be in last place, but she's gonna not struggle the entire time again. Because I feel like that's what they did last year, and it was just kind of you have to show progress, I would think.
Getting
So
4 points
a
in a
big
smaller block is progress, to be fair.
yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean is that it's like a big win early in comparison to like just barely squeaking it out after everybody's fatigued from 15 matches. Uh, I think her winning like a match early would probably be smart. I don't think it's this one. Um, though you look at Hanan's tournament, it's kind of hard to see where else she could win a match. Um, because Mina's one of those upsettable wrestlers, right?
Mhm.
Because you're not going to see her upset Utami. You're probably not going to see her upset Anu. And then like she could probably beat Azumi and Mariah, but I don't know if they would do both of those. So I will stick with Mina, but this is one of the few matches that Hanan could actually win without us being like stretching super hard to try to get her a win at some point.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The next match then is a Blue Stars block match. It is Suri Ano versus
You already know
Azumi.
this is ex-military, baby. This
Yeah,
is Azumi's
yeah.
army right here.
Depending on what Anu is coming into this with, this could be compliments of the chef, Azumizushi. Because if she's like
Yeah, I
leading
feel
the
like
block on five
this is
points,
all Azumi.
yeah, like if she's leading the block on 5, then this is one where you drop.
To a far lesser degree to Hanan, I think Azumi's sort of in a similar position because it's like there are certain people that she's just not going to beat. And she's very like Mirai. I just do not like. There are plenty of people that Azumi's not going to really beat, and she is upsettable. We saw that with Mariah May, so I feel like she kind of could really use a win over Anu
Hmm.
here. And if of anybody, I would imagine Anu's cool with taking a pin to her senpai, right?
Yeah.
Or her pai sen, I should say. Uh, so yeah, I think this is like a perfect place for Azumi to get a win. Um, yeah, I'm excited for this match actually,
All right.
as everybody knows.
Yes. The next match then is a Red Stars block match. It is Suri versus Natsuko Tora, a very tan Natsuko Tora. Her render is very
Yeah.
brown. Um,
Oh, they fixed Suzuki's render, so that's nice.
yeah. Although she also
And
looks
next
kind
one.
of brown. I don't know what tanning effect they've got
Yeah, but
going on here. Um,
Actually, though, Hazuki does get like she tans a lot.
That's
She
true.
posts
That
on
is
her
fair.
Instagram all
But
the time.
Natsuko is definitely not that tan. And that's just a bit off. Anyway,
Little bit.
Suri probably hands her first loss of the tournament. To knock her down.
This is Shuri's second match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Natsuko has
Um,
4 by the default. So
Did I predict Shuri over? Yeah, Shuri over
Right.
Natsuko.
The next match then is a Red Stars block match. It is Tam Nakano versus Hazuki. Wow, this could be one of the better ones of the tournament because we all know Tam in tournament sprints can go crazy. Um,
I wonder when the last time they've had a singles match was. I'm gonna check
they're
that
not
out.
in the same block last year.
It's-
Oh,
No,
okay, all right. I don't know.
Tam was red and
How many
Hazuki
points
was.
are they on? Well, Hazuki is on none, right?
Yeah, and Tam's on 2
2,
because of
and
Saya.
this is Tam's third match.
This is her
Second? Did she not? Oh yeah, she beat Saya on the opening day. So this is only Tam's second match. Okay.
It's funny how I'm just like such a I'm a nerd.
Yeah. See, they don't have a
I just keep this all in
they
my
don't have a
brain for no
table on
reason.
this one, so I have to try and remember. I guess Tam will win. They seem to be
Yeah.
doing the opposite run with Hazuki. Well, I say that she's lost once.
Yeah, I think
so
Tam wins this.
it's just my guess.
I think Tam definitely wins this. She has other
Yeah.
losses, right? Like she has other places to lose. Even though that Saya match, I really thought she was going to lose that. So I don't know if she needs to drop one somewhere else. And I think Scott was talking about that. It's like in a million cases in Stardom, if something goes wrong, you could turn to Hazuki,
Mhm.
right? So if Tam needs to drop another match that she wasn't meant to, this could be it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it puts Suzuki kind of like I would still imagine she kind of goes middle of the road, 10 points roughly, 8 to 10 points for Suzuki by the end. So she could win this, especially if that Saya match was meant to go the other way. They could just fix it really quickly. Um,
Well, I'm
or
starting to
whatever.
doubt she was meant to
But
lose that Saya match if Megan was always supposed to debut after.
yeah, that's where the
'Cause I think
question comes in.
people.
The question mark comes in. But that's something that we didn't mention was the
Yeah,
reports
I
that
don't do that. But
Saya was
yeah,
meant
I
to
mean,
win.
we all thought she was going to challenge for Osaka, but then, apparently she was meant to win the tournament and get the match with Tam in December. So that would indicate she wasn't going to win against Tam either way.
Yeah, she's not going to go
Yeah.
two for in the same
So
couple months.
she wasn't going to beat
Like
Tam
that.
for the red belt, but yeah,
Yeah.
so I question whether Tam was meant to lose that one or not. It just seemed like the obvious move at the time, but with hindsight, probably not. We're always going to do Bayne.
I don't know. Again, and this is so much speculation, if Saya was meant to win the tournament, I could see her beating Tam in the tournament, winning the tournament, and then losing to Tam. Because then it's like, oh, the odds are stacked against Tam. That's what they like to do.
Yes.
And then even though Saya is the underdog, usually against Tam, I could definitely see it like that. But yeah, I mean, and ultimately everybody's got 2 more points, so it
Yeah.
kind of cancels out. So I think my logic with the Suzuki win is kind of flawed. Um, but yeah, I'm not for sure, but I think this is
All right.
definitely a Tam win. It's funny how you
That
say
is
that.
fair. Uh,
I'm not for sure, but it's definitely.
so the next show then to preview is on the 8th of August. This is next Tuesday. This is Starverse presents 5-Star GP 2023 in Kyoto, supported by SoftBank. This is in the KBS Hall in Kyoto. Everybody's favorite.
Oh, and if anybody was wondering, last time that Tam and Hazuki wrestled, Tam won. It was in the 2019 GP. It was on day 2.
All right,
Shikiba.
sounds fun.
Fun little.
There's not really much notable stuff from the undercard here. I guess Tekla teaming with Megan and Mei Sarah is the biggest news. Waka Skiyama is also back. She's teaming with Mina Shirakawa.
The Towers of Power in the first match.
Oh,
with
is it?
who's that?
Towers
Is
of
that
Power?
Hina?
Oh yeah, Lady C, Hanako,
Yeah,
and
it's Hina
Hina.
and the Towers of Power. They're gonna die.
Yeah. Utami still just not, or is she in one of the GP matches?
Nope. No Queen's Quest.
What? Utami really just said, "Yeah, I'm going to America," and then
Was
also
Yeah, no Tommy.
But I'm going
I-
to America, and also I'm going on holiday. Bye.
It's possible that they were planning on putting a bunch of Saya, it's possible that Saya not being here kind of affected that.
Yeah,
Um,
possibly.
but
Also,
I
there's
don't know
no
why they
Aya
wouldn't just
Sakura.
cancel it.
She's still hurt, and there's like no word on when she's coming back. So that's not fun.
Oh damn, yeah, she's
Yeah.
been out for a couple weeks now. A few weeks.
Yeah, and she's not on any of the cards either, so that's not great. But
Ideal, yeah.
hopefully she'll be back soon. She was really starting to get good. Anyway, we have a Blue Stars block match. It is Julia versus Mariah May. Julia is on 3 points, and she doesn't wrestle before this. She's still on 3 points, and Mariah is 1 and 1 on 2 points.
This is
Feels like
such
an
a
easy
Julia
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about how Mariah May and Soriano got weird.
I think we have to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think
it
we're
was just a
fine.
funny bit.
Yeah, it's we're okay. But anyway, Julia's winning.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The match after that is a Blue Stars block match. It is Maika versus Momo Watanabe. Momo is on 2 points. Hasn't wrestled since the opening day. Maika, we have on 4. She is on 2.
Yeah. So she's on 2 right now, and then she's going to have wrestled
Soriano.
the fuck do it Anu, and that's a toss up.
Okay. Right. Well, Maika
But if
usually
Anu
beats
wins,
Momo, so I feel like Maika wins anyway.
I don't know if
That's kind of their
usually.
established canon.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're like pretty even actually.
I mean, outside of tournaments, maybe, but in tournaments, I feel like it's Maika.
No, not even. They're 1-1 in tournament, and then there's one draw, and Momo beat her in their non-tournament match.
Right. Okay.
So they are split pretty evenly. In fact, Momo's won
Mhm.
more times than Micah has.
Would still go with Maika.
I
Just
don't know who I'm going
because.
with here.
Yeah.
This is. I don't know. It's hard because I feel like Micah is going to be near the top, so I feel like it's easier to just have her beat Momo here. But actually, yeah, I think Micah over Momo because that would be paying back the Cinderella, right? When Momo kind of screwed her out of the Cinderella, uh, this year they were in the first round. Yeah, I'll go with Micah. Kind of a bit of payback for her there.
Yeah, I guess I would go with you. This is the worst part though, because these could really go anywhere.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But
It's all right.
the fun is in the like justifying it and then it's just falling apart. That's like the most fun thing in the world. Is like being like, this would make sense because this and like going on a 10-minute rant and then it's just like, oh, Momo won with the bat. Ha, like that's what you want. That's like there's like a beauty to that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I also just like being right, so who knows. But anyway,
Shut up,
the
McFly.
next match on the show was a Red Stars block match. It is Suri versus Natsupoi. That is the easiest Suri win I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? I actually called a Natsupoi win on this, but now that she's just won, like I'm just like, yeah, you can't win this, homegirl. This ain't this ain't you. Because I was expecting Natsupoi to need like upsets, like big upsets, and Shuri obviously has the issue with roll ups, right? She's constantly getting rolled up. It's the only way she ever loses, basically. Um,
Mm.
and Natsupoi could do that, but now that Natsupoi is she's sitting at two wins, so 4 points. Um, with no matches before this, I believe. Or am I right? I don't know if you have this information.
Suri?
No, Natsupoi.
Natsupoi, yeah, I cannot remember anymore.
I'm gonna wait.
Okay, yeah, see, this is why they need to put the tables on every
Yeah,
show
they're
so
only
that
on
we can
some
see
of them,
everything.
and I'm like
Yeah.
searching for it, and it's driving me insane. Where is the table? There it
Pretty
is.
sure she
Okay,
wrestles once more, but I can't remember with who.
not on that show. Uh, it's funny because if she does, we just talked about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like she did. Yeah, I don't think she does.
Okay.
So I think that's her next match. She'd be going 2-0, and then she has Shuri. There's no way she beats Shuri and goes to
Yeah.
6.
Suri would go to 3-0 then. They'd both be
that makes
unbeaten.
sense.
Okay. Well, yeah, why not? Suri, keep her strong. Then we have a Red Stars block match. It's Mayu Iwatani versus Suzu Suzuki. Suzu hasn't got a win yet, as far as ours go. As is
Not
oh,
even as far as
she already
ours go.
wrestled Natsupoi.
I'm pretty sure she just doesn't have a win outside of the kid match that she might.
Oh yeah, I have Kid going over Suzu, so I don't have that. But this might be a first Suzu win of the tournament.
Who was this against?
Mayu.
Oh,
Didn't she beat Mayu last year, or am I misremembering entirely?
that's
I think
something
she
I
beat
would look up.
Mayu.
You know what? I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was like a big thing last year.
So
She lost. She lost to
all
Mayu.
right, okay then. So yeah, she probably wins this time.
Damn, what was happening last year with Suzu? That's an insane stat that I just look. The tournament was so bizarre last year because
s-
I'm sorry, but Mayu beat Suzu on day 14, and Mayu went up to 11 points, and Suzu still had 2. How the fuck did Suzu get it? Was she like? I get that it was a
she
long tournament.
lost a lot.
That sounds so insane.
'Cause I remember she went like 0-3 to start last year, and had
But
a
how is it
discussion.
day 14 and you only have 2 wins? Like that is insane.
Yeah, this is how they did it, and that's probably how they're gonna do it with somebody this year because they're doing the staggered. But yeah, I could see Suzu winning. This is only like the second or third Mayu match of the tournament, I think.
Second.
Yeah, so she's already on 2 points. So yeah, she can drop this, I think. That's the thing when it comes to I think previewing the GP now. Is that staggered dates just make it so hard to get a read for everybody.
Yeah.
It's like one person is on 0-1 and the other person is like 2-3, and you're like, well, I don't know who values this more. Whereas if every match was happening as they went along, it would be a lot easier.
Even I kind of like I don't mind the staggered dates. I just wish that they would do it more consistent to block personally.
Yeah,
Like
I guess.
just have like 2 days where it's like, "Oh, here's 4 block matches, here's 5 block matches from blue," and then 2 days where it's this many block matches from red and just like kind of like you could have it staggered, but just have it kind of more consistent because yeah, by the like by the end of this we're going to have Utami at 2 points and, Shuri's going to be at 6.
Yeah,
Like obviously they're in different blocks, but that's just like crazy to me. That
it's
it's
a
like
joy
so
though.
far off.
That's always, I think that's
to
fun.
to a degree. To a degree, I love the chaos. Obviously, if you've ever spoken to me, that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, it's like to some degree, I was like, you can make this easier on literally every human being alive if you just were a little bit more like you know specific with these sorts of things. Because yeah, like I talked about in our preview, it's like Natsuko Tora is going to have all of her matches done in like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
right? Like this month, she's going to have all of her matches done. Why? That makes no sense.
Oh.
But yeah, Suzu over Mayu is.
All right, and that is that show, and that is our show. Nothing
Sorry for
else to
interrupting. I know
preview.
you're gonna
It's
say
all right.
something.
It's all good. So yeah, that's everything. It's GP
Do we not
time.
want to look at the Thursday one?
Nah, we're good.
It's only 2 matches.
Yeah, but it's fine. We can
Oh,
go
but we'll
next
talk
week.
about it next
Yeah.
week. Yeah, because it's the day before.
The only other thing to really touch on is that this Friday, I believe, is Sariism, and that is Kairi teaming with Sari against Takumi Roha and Arisa Nakajima. So that's gonna be a very fun time. So if you if you have any interest in pro wrestling, it's probably a good one to watch. Four top tier women's wrestlers right there. And obviously, if you listen to the show, you're probably partial to Kairi, and I think she's going to do really well in that match. I mean, Kairi
Who
upset
who was
Arisa
on
Nakajima,
Reese's team?
Kumi.
Takumi.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's insane.
So I mean, Kairi and Arisa Nakajima alone is ridiculous. But yeah,
Yeah.
you throw in Takumi, who might be motivated. Question mark. And yeah, you're gonna get some good stuff there, so that's gonna be a great one.
Have you been able to see any Marvelous lately? Because I know
Kinda.
that they had a tag defense
That like sprung out of
against.
nowhere. By the way, There was
Yeah, I know. I didn't
no.
know what happened, dude. You know how funny it is that one of your favorite wrestlers almost got her belt back and lost it in the same day, and lost the match. Where it's like, oh, I found out this is
Yeah.
happening. That's dope, and then she just loses.
Like I
Like,
saw
how does that?
I saw the pictures of them with the trophy, and I was like, when the hell did they
Mhm.
defend the belts?
And then you find out that they beat Aoki because, of course, they did.
Yeah, Mayuki don't do damn jobs, man. That's the shame about it. Was it Mayuki?
We,
Yeah, it
I,
was. Yeah.
it was Maya and
Um,
Itsuki.
yeah, I don't.
Itsuki's a tag team partner. Got
Yes.
pregnant and is going to give birth to a Sasuke soon.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Not Uchiha.
not
Not
Sasuke,
Sasuke Uchiha.
Sasaki. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sasaki, because it's different. Sasuke is you. Sasaki. She's giving birth to a Sasaki,
Just say a
and a
Hokuto. Like
Hokuto
I
kid.
feel like that'd be so much
Yeah,
easier for this show, especially.
yeah. You know what I know? Okay, this is off, but Hokuto's son looks so much like Kensuke.
That is how genetics
Like,
works.
I understand. You don't have to be a dick. You don't have to be a dick. I was just
I
making
mean,
a astute
I feel like
observation.
I do.
I know.
It is part of me. I just
I know that
is
that's how
is
genetics
natural.
works, Alex. But like, I just see him. It's like, damn, like they are like, it's like
Father and
the
son.
exact same. Because like, I don't look that much like my dad. Okay, I'm just
Okay,
saying. Like
all
that's
right.
just like, God, gonna have me saying stuff that I
Oh
shouldn't
my god.
say on
Wow.
air.
I'm resorting to slurs already. That's crazy. You're getting cancelled. Um, I I got in
Ah,
trouble for last
only.
week with my comments about Scandinavia. I mean that is
I forgot about
apparently
that.
apparently
Oh
that is a
man.
sore issue, and also Switzerland is definitely not in Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Scandinavia is
It's very
not
much not.
interchangeable. So we live and we learn and grow. Um,
It's funny how you're the smart one.
I really,
You're
I
meant to be the
really
smart
don't
one.
like that's a bad idea.
I know, but you're meant to be.
Well, no,
Have you ever? And I know we're just riffing at this point. Have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
no.
Okay, well there's this bit about how Charlie is the
Hmm?
wild card. Like, like one of them's the brains, one of them's the beauty, whatever. Charlie's the wild card. And over time they start to realize you don't want a wild card. Having a wild card is a
Yeah.
bad idea. I feel like we are both wild cards and that's not good.
Oh,
Because we're both kind of dumb.
yeah, but we're terminally online wild cards, so we're not gonna say anything that bad. You know, like we know the
That's
line
true.
firmly. I think
That's
so
true.
most of the
Sometimes.
time. Um,
I get concerned that the line is going to move and there are going to be a lot of angry people listening back to like my white woman jokes, for example.
yeah, but
Um,
we're probably like 20 years away from that kind of shift. I think we're fine.
yeah.
The
I mean, I already gave them my dreams on being
Oh,
president, so we're cool.
it's grand. But yeah, that is this show. That is the shows that are happening. We will be back next week to discuss a 5-star show in Hyogo, a 5-star show in Oregon, actually, a 5-star show in Okayama,
Oh,
and
next week
and
is a
Stardom
Star
X
McStar.
Stardom. Yes, so we have a pay-per-view and a loaded Corkin to discuss. We will also review whatever is up from this weekend. Likely we won't see anything from the KBS Hall. So they might get it up early on Wednesday, but that puts you and me in a bit of a strange place. So I don't know what we'll be doing about the KBS Hall show. But we'll definitely talk about Konatsu and Act City Hamamatsu. We just hope that the vibes are better than this past week. So
Yeah. I mean, this past week has it caused turmoil in the podcast. If you guys
there
couldn't
was
tell,
no
we were just yelling at each other
turmoil.
for
We're
a bit.
fine. It's grand.
Alex doesn't like it when I criticize
You can
random matches.
criticize them. I just think that's a
This is
weird
just
one to do. It was a
a
great
factual
match. It's just
case.
that of all matches where her and Mariah were going crazy. Like it's a strange choice, man.
Yeah,
That's all. Especially when you hyped Julia versus
yeah.
Hanan. I'm sorry. Like I'm not accepting it.
I thought
Like
that was great.
this is not good. Um, Somebody brought up to me that I think Hanan and Azumi wrestle at some point in this tournament. And yeah, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna
Dude.
be insufferable during that week," and I was like, "I'm just gonna bully Dylan into like not bringing up the match."
Well,
So
let me see when it happens. Azumi Hanan is on the 12th. Yeah, you're not gonna want me to talk about that at all. Um, because the two matches with it are. Oh wait, that's next week. We'll talk about it next
oh
week.
dear God,
Yeah, let's go, baby.
what are the matches?
Azumi
Let's
season.
see.
Oh, it's Utami Sarianu and Julia Mina. So obviously
Oh
you're gonna be
my
like salivating,
goodness.
and I'm just gonna be like Azumi.
Well, we probably won't because we'll end up having to review the pay-per-view as well. So you will open your
That's
mouth
true.
and I'll be like, no, not happening. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll just.
But I'm gonna be like, yeah, this match happened back in 2018, and this is how it went, and you're just gonna like
I think I'll just
shoot me
actively
through the
start
phone.
bullying. Like I'm just like
Yeah,
I'll
nah.
verbally harass
See, I
you.
need to start bullying you more,
I think
because
you can't.
you are equally as annoying about your phase.
No, that's not
Do you know how
possible.
many times you spoke about Megan Bayne?
Yeah, because she's brand new, and one of the more interesting things on the show, because she is brand new, is how being new works. Spoke just as much about
You
Aya
and your shiny
Sakura
new toys.
and Hanako. We're in month 3 of you going, Hanako's
I, I'm
awesome, by the
I'm
way. Oh,
I had that as a note. I just didn't say it today. By the way, I
I
just want
knew it.
everybody to know.
You fucking simp. Anyway,
Oh
that
man,
is
I love
time to
Aniko.
close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand.
Yeah,
If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Ijo.